A Real Miracle Happened to Me by Mrs. John Berger. Worry had completely defeated me. My mind was so confused and troubled that I could see no joy in living. My nerves were so strained that I could neither sleep at night nor relax by the day. My three young children were widely separated, living with relatives. My husband, having recently returned from the armed service, was in another city trying to establish a law practice. I felt all the insecurities and uncertainties of the post war readjustment period. I was threatening my husband's career, my children's natural endowment of a happy, normal home life, and I was also threatening my own life. My husband could find no housing, and the only solution was to build. Everything depended on my getting well. The more I realized this and the harder I would try, the greater would be my fear of failure. Then I developed a fear of planning for any responsibilities. I felt that I could no longer trust myself. I felt I was completely a failure. When all was darkest and there seemed to be no help, my mother did something for me that I shall never forget or cease being grateful for. She shocked me into fighting back. She upbraided me for giving in and for losing control of my nerves and my mind. She challenged me to get up out of bed and fight for all I had. She said I was giving too in to the situation, fearing it instead of facing it, running away from life instead of living it. So I did started fighting from that day on. That very weekend I told my parents they could go home because I was going to take over, and I did what seemed impossible at the time. I was left alone to care for my two younger children. I slept well, I began to eat better, and my spirit began to improve. A week later, when they returned to visit me again, they found me singing at my ironing. I had a sense of well being because I had begun to fight a battle and I was winning. I shall never forget this lesson. If I ha- if a situation seems insurmountable, face it, start fighting, don't give in. From that time on, I forced myself to work and lost myself in my work. Finally, I gathered my children together and joined my husband in our new home. I resolved that I would become well enough to give my lovely family a strong, happy mother. I became engrossed with plans for our home, plans for my children, plans for my husband, plans for everything except for me. I became too busy to think of myself, and it was then that the real miracle happened. I grew stronger and stronger and could wake up with the joy of well being, the joy of planning for the new day ahead, the joy of living. And although days of depression did creep in occasionally after that, especially when I was tired, I would tell myself not to think or try to reason with myself on those days, and gradually they become fewer and finally disappeared. Now, a year later, I have a very happy, successful husband, a beautiful home that I can work in 16 hours a day, and three healthy, happy children, and for myself, peace of mind. Peace.